Hello, welcome to a video about solving equations by multiplying or dividing. The goal of today's lesson is to solve one-step equations in one variable by using multiplication or division. Now, since we already talked about solving one-step equations with addition and subtraction, so we got a feel for it, I'm going to move a little bit faster on this one. First of all, let's review about a solution of an equation. It's any replacement for a variable that makes an equation true is called the solution of the equation. Two examples here. X equals 3 is a solution to 6x equals 18. What can we do with x equals 3? We're going to plug our 3 in for x into this equation. So 6 times 3 is equal to 18. Multiply those two. 18 is equal to 18. Example number 2, x equals 45 is a solution to x divided by 5 equals 9. Just a reminder, this fraction bar, that is another form of division. That fraction bar represents x divided by 5. So, we're going to plug in 45 for x. 45 divided by 5 is equal to 9. 9 is equal to 9. And once again, to solve an equation, whenever we say solve this equation, it means to find all of its solutions. Let's go over to a couple examples. Determine whether the given values are solutions to the equations. On the first one, we have 8x is equal to 72. So, it's asking, is x equals 9 a solution? Well, how do we know? If we substitute 9 into the equation for x. So, we get, and if it is, if 8 times 9 is equal to 72, then 9 is a solution. If it does not equal, then 9 is not a solution. So, x times 9 is equal to 72. 8 times 9 is 72, so yes, 9 is a solution. On the second one, x divided by 3 is equal to 7. Is 18 equals x a solution? So we're going to plug in 18. We're going to substitute 18 in for x. 18 divided by 3 is equal to 7. 6 does not equal 7. So I put that slash through my equal sign to show that it is not equal. So no, 18 is not a solution. Let's talk about the equality principles quick. For any real numbers, a, b, and c, if a is equal to b, so if we know that a and b are equal to each other, so if a equals b is true, then a times c is equal to b times c as well. So if we multiply both a and b by the same number, and the same thing goes for division, a divided by c is equal to b divided by c. If we divide by the same number, as long as c does not equal 0. Why is this all important? Because the goal of solving an equation is to isolate the variable on one side of the equation. And we can do that by multiplying and dividing on both sides of the equal sign. And over here on the right side, you can see that I gave you guys an example of where the multiplication equality principle and the division equality happen. Solve each equation. We have a couple examples to do here. So 3x is equal to 36. We're going to look at, we want x on one side of the equation by itself or isolated. So if we look at this example, we see that 3 and x are attached by multiplication. So we will perform an inverse operation of division on this. 3 times x are being multiplied, so we're going to divide. We're going to divide by 3 to get x by itself. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3, this becomes a 1, so it kind of crosses out. We can get rid of that. And then we go, x is equal to 36 divided by 3. X is equal to 12. And once again, we can check these by substituting 12 back into the original equation. We go 3 times 12 is equal to 36. Yes, it is. The next one, y divided by 2 is equal to 18. So we got to think to ourselves, y divided by 2, what is the opposite of dividing by 2? It'd be multiplying by 2. Just over here, see how these were multiplied and the opposite was dividing? Well, over here, we divided, so the opposite is going to be multiplying. So what do we do when there's a 2 on the bottom? When we divide by a number that is a fraction, we multiply by its reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by 2 over 1 on each side. We're going to cross these 2's, they cancel out. So we're left with a 1y on this side. Y is equal to 18 times 2. So y is equal to 36. 2 more. Solve each equation. Negative 4.8 is equal to negative 6x. We want to get x by itself. We want to isolate the variable. So what would we need to do? divide both sides by a negative 6. And we're going to divide by a negative 6. You could divide by a positive 6, but then you're still left with negative x. So you'd have to divide by a negative 1 anyway. So we're just going to do it all at one time. We're going to divide both sides by a negative 6. These x cancel out, so we get a 1 out of that. And then when we divide by negatives, or divide or multiply, when there's two negatives, that's going to be a positive. So our answer is going to end up being a positive 0.8 is equal to x. Let's look at one with fractions. We have 3 over 16 is equal to 1/8 x. Now my first instinct, or your first instinct, is probably to divide by 1/8 because it's 1/8 times x. But we need to remember that when we divide by a fraction, we actually need to multiply by the reciprocal. What is the reciprocal? It's, flip the denominator and the numerator around. So the reciprocal of 1 over 8 is 8 over 1. We're going to multiply both sides by that. Because we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. And it's going to look like this. Now, I'm going to cancel out, and I'm going to reduce on this side over here. So those 8s are going to cross out, and then the 1s. And I could reduce here, but I'm just going to do it the long way once. So I end up with 24 over 16 is equal to x. Now I need to simplify this. I want to get as low as possible. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And I'm going to end up with 3 over 2 is equal to x. That's my final answer. The last one I want to do is a quick word problem. If the cost of gasoline is $3 per gallon and you spend $42, how many gallons of gasoline did you purchase? Well, I know I'm going to need a variable for this, so let's start out with finding that. And I'm going to choose x because I just like to use x all the time. How many gallons of gasoline did you purchase? So we're looking for how many gallons of gasoline did we purchase. I'm going to have x represent gallons of gas. So if we want to write an equation, we know that our total amount of, the total amount of money that you spent is equal to the price of a gallon times the amount of gallons we purchased. Now we don't know how many gallons we purchased, so that's where x comes into play. So we go 3 times x is equal to $42, the total amount that I spent. And I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. My 3 is going to cross out here, so I'm left with x is equal to 14 gallons of gas.